Harare, Zimbabwe. Emmerson Mnangagwa, the military-backed politician whose allies ended Robert Mugabe's 37-year rule over Zimbabwe, will be sworn in as the new president on Friday, the Speaker of the country's parliament announced on Wednesday. A day after Mr. Mugabe resigned under mounting pressure, the governing party, ZANU-PF, quickly nominated Mr. Mnangagwa, 75, to complete Mr. Mugabe's term as president until the next election, which must be held by August. Mr. Mnangagwa returned to Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, from South Africa on Wednesday, the first time he has been seen in public since Mr. Mugabe fired him as vice president on November 6. That dismissal triggered a chain of events that led to the country's first transfer of power since independence in 1980. Mr. Mnangagwa's ascension to the presidency will cap a military-led campaign that his allies have tried to coat with a veneer of legality. Mr. Mugabe, who was himself last seen in public on Sunday, tendered his resignation in a letter to Parliament on Monday, just after lawmakers had begun impeachment proceedings. The military, which has held him under house arrest, released no details Wednesday about Mr. Mugabe or his family. In an effort to win legitimacy for the new government, Mr. Mnangagwa's allies have taken great pains to paint his elevation as following the rule of law. Under their direction, ZANU-PF expelled Mr. Mugabe and named Mr. Mnangagwa as its new leader. Then it moved to impeach Mr. Mugabe. The constitution allows the governing party to nominate an individual to the presidency if the office is vacant. The trouble, legal experts and human rights groups say, is that Mr. Mnangagwa's allies have influenced real-world events. In addition to placing Mr. Mugabe under house arrest, the military, which does not have the authority to arrest individuals, has detained Mr. Mnangagwa's political rivals, whose whereabouts remain unknown. That's what ZANU-PF has always done, said Rashid Mahia, the executive director of Heal Zimbabwe Trust, a human rights group. It's not your usual dictatorship. There's a veneer of legality and constitutionality in all they do, but the politics take place behind the scenes. Some have also raised questions about the constitutionality of Mr. Mnangagwa's nomination. Before he was fired, he was one of Mr. Mugabe's two vice presidents. The other, Felixilum Foko, belonged to the rival faction, led by Mr. Mugabe's wife, Grace Mugabe. According to the constitution, in the event of a vacancy, one of the vice presidents automatically becomes president while the governing party has 90 days to nominate an interim president. Mr. Mfoko, as the only vice president, appeared to be in line to become president upon Mr. Mugabe's resignation. On Sunday, Mr. Mnangagwa's allies in ZANU-PF expelled Mr. Mfoko from the party. Even so, he could have been dismissed as vice president only by the president himself, said Greg Linington, an expert on constitutional law at the University of Zimbabwe. But Mr. Mfoko, who was visiting Japan when the military took over, has not returned to Zimbabwe, fearing for his safety. No one even knows where exactly he is. Mr.